Hello. Hello. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to share this amazing moment with us here today. I thank Mary for making this journey. And I know you've all seen the pictures and you have an idea about what's going on. And Mary is going to share her story with us, so I won't say too much. I just want to say one tiny little bit, and that is also to thank Reed, her grandson, for contacting me in the summer and starting us on this journey that brought us here today. It's such an amazing story, and one that I didn't know anything about when I started hearing about it. And we don't talk much about the Japanese community. And I think we need to hear more stories, local stories about Galiano. And I think it's wonderful for the kids to have these local stories and to meet somebody that was born here in 1929. So I'll pass it over to Mary and let her, in her own words, tell you her story. Thank you.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm a little bit nervous today. Is that right? I was born in this island. Alcala was there. It was open for everybody there, and there were many Japanese families there. We all spoke Japanese because our parents were from Japan. So when we started school over there, we didn't speak in English. There was just one teacher, and I can't remember, but I think there was about 30 students, different age. And she was trying to teach all of us. Very, very difficult. But after going home, we spoke Japanese again. So our English was very limited while living here in Galiano. In those days, when you walk around the beach, I spent a lot of time walking around the beach. I love it. There would be a lot of skulls around the Archipelago side there. And we used to kick it around like a ball. There was always 2 or 3 holes in it. Later on, I found out that they all came from the Spanish War, and I don't know who all died, but the bones were all gathered up and put into one island. It's called a skeleton island. You don't see any sign of that anymore, but in those days, living was such, and education was very limited here. However, I love the sea. Whenever a canoe that the First Nation discarded because it's no longer in use, we would put our bathing suit on and get on it, half in, and then we'd go octopus fishing. And we'll bring in an octopus, nicely, and we think, oh, we caught it, and then they would just, it would catch up to the bottom of the boat and it refused to move. We let go again, and it would fly away. And then pull it up again, and just stubborn as you. But it was fun. There was a nice cave close by that we enjoyed very much, and we used to call it our house cave, I think. It's still there. I don't know if anybody ever seen this cave. Huge. We used to play house in there. Anybody know about this cave?
Yep, I've seen it before.
You seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
No, that was my house group. Long time ago. That's when I visited years later. Anyways, then when I turned 7, my parents decided we weren't getting enough education here. Oh, I'm sorry. Old age. Anyways, we were getting enough education, so we moved to Salt Spring Island. And there, all my friends compared to here was Caucasian girls. And started picking up my English right away and started learning. But I lost 1 or 2 years then. And then 4 years of going to school and all that, finally getting where I want to go. In those days, the first thing we did at school was pull up the flag and sing Maple Leaf Forever. That was our country song. And then God Save the King. And you know, raising that up and doing all that put a very strong connection to, I'm a Canadian, I'm a true Canadian. I may look different, but I'm a true Canadian. My feeling was always like that. And then in 1941, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. And my mother and father was very worried about what's going to happen to us. And I was listening to them and I thought, well, I'm Canadian, so it's got nothing to do with me. But a month later, my father, who was a fisherman, this is our livelihood, the government ordered his boat to be taken away, take it to Westminster and turn it in. And my father got sick. He was really upset, but we were always told to obey the police, obey the government. So he says, can't be helped. So he took it in, but he became quite ill. And then in late February, the government said, get ready, just 1 suitcase each. You're leaving this island. And after finally building a house, nice house there on the island, we'll be taken away. And we thought we'll be going back, so I put my valuable things, Mom, up on the attic, thinking that we'll come back. But we never got the house back. Government sold it all. Dad's boat was all sold and all that. And then we landed in Animal Stall, Hastings Park. They took us to Vancouver, and we were in the animal barn. They were still filling up straw with a bag so that they could use it as a mattress. And we were all herded into the stables. There was still a lot of poops around, and we were sleeping with bugs all over the place, and the place just stunk. There was a cute thing about it, the birds flying all over the place. That I felt, at 12 years old, I thought that was cute. And then the bathroom, there was no bathroom, so they just, we had to put box in front of, apple box in front of animal drinking stall, drinking trough, and balance ourselves. My sister and I giggled so much that we nearly fell in. And then I got mumps and had to be segregated. Well, they took, I was put in a dungeon for 10 days. They took all the animal food and coal, pushed the coal to the one side, and put some bed in there. And there in the dark dungeon, I spent 10 days there. It was okay for me because I was 12, but little kids, 4 or 5 years old, were screaming. And sick as I was looking after them. That was one of my worst experiences there. And then after 6 months of living in the horrible place, looking in the park, seeing other kids enjoying the rides and everything, and envying them, we were put on a train to the interior, Slocan Valley. There we were in a shack, just wood and tar paper on top. And there were a lot of nails sticking out because young kids as young as 14 was helping to build a shack. So this was September, and when it got cold, there would be icicles hanging from the top because we could stay up all night to keep the pot stove going. In the morning, we had to clean up all the side of the house because it would be just stacked with ice. Then my father got sicker and he died on December 1st. We would manage to give him a nice funeral, but we wanted his body cremated so that we could keep his remains with us. And we asked the government for that, and they said, we can't do it, you do it yourself. So this is what we had to do. All the young fathers, young men were taken away, and just young 16 and under, and old people were there. So the old people and women and all went up on the hill. They helped us, and we cut down some tree, and we laid his coffin on tree and more on top, and then we poured gasoline around the coffin. And my last sight of my father was a flame going up. To this day, when I get depressed, I can still see my father. I've never been to a funeral before, and to see my father disappearing in the fire was just an agony. And then next day, Mother said, I've got nothing to put his remains in. But my dad smoked, and she had some pins and needles in a tobacco can. So she took that out and chopstick, and next day we went to collect his bones. What a sight. I will never forget that, to see my father disappear like that. And then his remains sat next to our bed all during the time we were interned there. It was very hard, but we always say it can't be helped. If you do what the government tells you, told you to do. And then school was almost nil there. I really envy you people having school education, because took another year, and finally parents asked for education, and they put the school up. And then finally we were getting some education. After 4 years, it was okay for our kids because we got used to it. We had made a lot of friends, but the parents were having a difficult time. And then the war ended, and the government said, you either go over the Rockies, after taking everything away from us, over the Rockies, or we'll pay your way to Japan. During the war, we didn't have any communication, no telephone, no radio, or no papers. We didn't really know what the condition of Japan was, but Mother said, I can't go back east when I got nobody there. We got nobody there. How are we going to start a new life? So she decided to go to Japan because Japan was a place where her mother lived. So I had no choice but to go with her because I was going on 15, so I had to decide wherever Mother goes, I went. And I was kind of looking forward to a new place too, and went to Japan. The first meal we got there after we got off the ship was a gruel. That was awful, and everybody threw up. We didn't know what we were eating. And then on a train ride to the village, small village that my grandmother lived in, the place was just bombed out, and people were still living outside. It was worse than the condition we had in Canada. People were hungry, there were still dead animals around and all that. And finally we reached the village where my grandmother was, and she passed away and the house was gone. We had no place to go. Fortunately, an aunt who was having a very difficult time let us use her one bedroom. And with a very little, Japanese people didn't like us because they were having a hard time providing food. And they had to, every person that came in, were Canadians. Why should we feed the Canadians? But they were nice enough to share their, a small amount, so very small amount of maybe wheat or cornmeal a day. And we were hungry all the time, skinny and losing weight. And being a small village, there was no work for any of us. Our uncle from Osaka heard about us, and fortunately his wife left him and he was alone, and he had bought a row of townhouses that didn't get bombed out. So he said, you come and live with me, we'll help you find a job for the kids. So we went to Osaka, city of Osaka, and there the community around us knew who we were. But when I went out, my clothes compared to the people of Japan was nicer. And when I went out, they made a mistake. They thought I was one of the prostitutes servicing the American soldiers. And I would get bullied, kicked and pushed and pulled, and everybody just watched me and laughed. And I thought, what am I? I used to look up and cry and say, what am I? Nobody wants me. Canada is not my country, and here in Japan, nobody wants me here. It was like that for the first 3 years. And jobs were available, but my mother didn't want me to work for the army because a lot of girls were getting wild. And she says, no, you're not working for the army. So I found a job with a company, Mitsubishi company, and there I started to learn Japanese. And they treated me very well because they were just starting business, and my language, although I only have grade 8 education when I left Little Creek, was better than any of their English. So for me, it was, my duty was to correct and type their letter. I learned how to type working there. And I educated myself, bringing everything to, correcting everything and asking them what they want to say and all that. And then eventually, a company called, a company of Japan called, manager called me, says I got about 40 Japanese people working here, and so I'm the manager, and none of the typists, we have nice typists, but none of the typists can read my writing. She says, I'll give you much better wages if you'll come and work for us. So I was very fortunate to move there again and find enough. And there I started saving and giving most of my money to my mother and putting away the rest. And it took me 8 years to save enough money, $280 to come back to Canada. Because in Japan, I used to do the dishes and all that, and I didn't have the manner that the Japanese girls had. I used to open the door with my feet, and I used to close the door with my back, and they used to say, my aunt used to say, she lived 2 doors over, and she says, no Japanese man is going to marry you if you behave like that. And I says, no, I'm not going to marry a Japanese man, I'm going home. So that's saved and saved. And finally, after 8 years, I saved $280, and I got on the ship. But I didn't have, Japanese yen couldn't be changed into dollar. So I had 0 cents when I got on the boat. I bought some rings and things so that maybe I could sell. But I did manage to get a friend to find me a job. He said, Orientals are not hired in the office. You're not going to get anything like that here. You could get domestic jobs. So I asked this lady on Granville Street, would she hire me, and would she prepaid my taxi fare when I get there, and they promised that they will. So with 0 cents, I got on a ship, started a new life in Canada by boarding taxi fare and working at the as a domestic. But in the days when there were no intermarriage, it was hard to just stay there and work and not meet somebody, because I was already turning 24, so I thought I needed to get out and meet people of my community somewhere out there. So I went looking for an office job, and everybody said they're not going to find one. But fortunately, I went to the shipping company that was servicing the ship that was coming back and forth. And they immediately hired me because I spoke 2 languages. And I was interpreting for the immigration and for the custom officers. So there I survived, and I met a man, and I married, and I quit the job, and I raised 3 families. I have 5 grandchildren now. They're all, Reed is the oldest of grandchildren. I have a boy, and 2 boys and a daughter, and 5 grandchildren. And I'm very, very lucky. But the reason why I am sharing this story with you young people, you are leaders of tomorrow. Remember, when you become the premier or the prime minister, you never know, somebody out there, please, we live in one of the best countries in the world. When you think about all the things happening around us, I want you to keep this country the best ever country. This is the reason why I'm sharing the story with you. I'm not bitter about what happened to me. I've learned a lot from it. But I want you as a leader of tomorrow to please keep Canada in a good country, peaceful, loving country as it is now. You don't know how good a place you're in education here. I really envy you. Thank you very much, boys and girls, for listening to me.
Contact with you for 3 months now, that I know a little bit about you. And it's through the photographs and your bio and talking to Reed that I got to know you more and more. And there's a few things that I learned about you. And one is that family and community are very important to you. As you can see, they are to all of us here. The other thing is how important you are to your family. They love you. I know. And the other thing that came through loud and clear was how much school and education and educating people like this coming here today means to you. It came through with the pictures that are left over from Lemon Creek. It came through in your bio when you talked about school here and schools in Salt Spring with a very warm heart. And it also comes through when you do things like this. And I know Reed told me that you didn't complete high school. And of course that was, I think you would have. You would have if things had been different, if life hadn't given you that turn of events way beyond your control. I know that you would have gotten your high school diploma in the Gulf Islands. So to help in a tiny bit to remedy a grave misfortune and mistake by the Canadian government, I have the absolute honor on behalf of School District 64 and the Board of Education to present you with a high school diploma from Galiano Community School. Congratulations, Mary, you are now a high school.
Surprise, Mom.
Okay, part two. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the charcoal kiln, which, I don't know how many years already. 15 years ago, I came across a rock-walled kilns on Galiano, did a bunch of research, found out they were Japanese charcoal kilns. The technology is 3000 BC. But when the Japanese came here in the 1870s, they brought that technology here, and they're all around Active Pass. They were on all the islands, on Salt Spring Island, on Main Island, on Tender Island. And over the years, I tried to develop and make this a historic site. But as I was going on my research, I was not able to penetrate the nouveau Japanese community with this history. And I was stumped, and I even got a grant, and I had to let go of it because I didn't have a connection. And 5 years later, I get a call, and it says, "My name is Mary Ohara, and I've heard about you, these charcoal pits. Could I come over with my friends who were a Cornell University professor and an old friend from Japan of Mary's, who taught Japanese at Cornell University, and the three of them came to look at the charcoal pits and what it was, and Mary had not known what one was. And these people went through my notes, because in Japanese and English, and because Mary wanted to write about this history and to do something with it. So when they went through my notes and found that I had done all this work, they insisted that I write about this. Then Mary was determined to find out how we could make this an historic site. Went to the Japanese community in Steveston, who were the Buddhists, the old community that came from the same place that she came in Wakayama, and brought them to Galiano to see the charcoal pit and what I was trying to do. And together, we, with, first of all, great determination and great perseverance, and it took us 3 years together in order to create the historic site here on Galiano Island, which is there in Highland Drive in the Bluffs. And I hope that we'll take all the kids there, but as Mrs. Buttery said, we're going to take you guys there. So first, I would like to thank Dan Sparanese for the honor of giving this diploma. and it says here, Certificate of Excellence. In honor of your outstanding performance and dedication, we hereby present Mary Ohara with this certificate of recognition for your high standards of excellence, Masters in Cultural Studies, and Amazing Person Award. If Mary, again, would have been here and gone on her life like normal, she would have had a master's degree. Now, one more thing. One thing that Mary, the inspiration over the years from knowing Mary, is her amazing perseverance. The second thing is her amazing happiness. Are you happy now? Happiness and positive attitude for all the things she's been through. And the third thing is her amazing determination to help me and everybody in this community for the charcoal pit. And when you put those three together, you get a PhD. So, I have composed something for Mary Ohara. We practiced yesterday. And this is the Mary Ohara Charcoal Pit Jig. And it goes like this. Everybody sees my hand. When it goes down once, clap once. Ready? We'll practice. Together like a flock of birds. Excellent. Now, while you're doing that, I want you to clap one, two, three.
I just want to say a lot of thank yous to the board members. Thank you for your support with this whole event. It wasn't anything that I had imagined when I first met Bonnie and Gizmo. Thank you to the parents and staff for making lunch for us. It was great. And the students for taking us on tour. And just everybody that's here today just feels so welcome, and I'm really overwhelmed right now. I think what my grandmother had always taught me, especially about this specific event in her life, is that there's two things that you should always keep learning. Just the way she did, it doesn't matter if she had to read newspapers or keep an old dictionary. Just because you finish school doesn't mean you can't discover new things, and it's going to help to make you better people and help the people around you. And my other passion is history. And this is not just my family history, but it's Galiano's history, it's BC's history, and it's Canadian history. And there are so many other terrible mistakes that we've made as a country learning to grow up. And we need to remember those things so that we don't repeat them coming up. And so thank you again for all of this. I just want to make a couple presentations here. So this is the book that got this started for me. I first received a copy from my nana in May or June, and finally started doing something about all this in August. So I want to give a brand new copy of this to the school, which will go nice in the brand new library. Give another copy of Bonnie. Everything's marked in there, and the quote and everything that got this started. And these flowers are beautiful. Well, I was with my partner in like 3 months, and none of this would have happened. She was enthusiastic from the start, as everybody was. And none of this would have happened without Bonnie's help, so thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I can't even dream that this is happening to me. This certificate is so, it's a dream of all my life. It's the final dream that I never thought would happen. I've always wanted a grade 12 certificate. And, thank you, honey. We cried. I've studied so hard over the years, just with a broken old dictionary and papers lying around. And now I'm getting so old that I keep forgetting what I've learned. But I am so grateful for all of you. What a difference a country people. You're all so gentle, sweet, and kind, loving. This is the kind of world that I want Canada to be, and you are it. All my fellow members. Thank you very much.